Oh, hey guys. Oh, hey. It is another episode of Super Goal Sunday with me, Felicia C. Ali, and
Me, Sharif Ali II.
Say. So today we're going to be talking about, I don't know, we had like a bunch of titles that we were kind of...
I wanted to switch it up on you.
Okay.
Actually, and I know this is just an impromptu one.
Okay.
So this past week, we had to pay out about $300 something to for our rental and for the car to get fixed, right? So where I thought it was a huge problem, I thought it was a thermostat house, which is what I fixed, which you can go to that video that's above that iCard, and it wasn't the thermostat problem. It was actually me not changing the oil. So the reason that was so big for me, especially for Felicia, is because she had told me before she left to go to Buffalo to handle our family situation there, babe, you need to put oil in the car. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Brushing her off, I'm like, I got this, and I never did it. Long story made short, 2 weeks later, still didn't do it, and I tried to turn over the car, and it wouldn't start. And so what would have been a $60-something issue, it turned into a $300+ issue. And that kind of got me to thinking about this. This is becoming a recurring issue and has been in our marriage, where sometimes I take a passive stance on things like I have a I'll get to it later attitude. Or if it's not a procrastination, then it becomes this issue of it's going to get done. As if the skies are going to open up and then magic is going to happen. And I can see that affecting our marriage. For some reason, I feel like our screen is tilted, guys. Hold on. All right, I think that's better.
Guys, it's so much going on right now that it's kind of hard to clearly hone in on, one particular area of our marriage, or, one particular subject matter, because I just kind of think that there's so much, like there's a pile up. Well, my husband, he is also a love coach, and he does a lot of seminars where he's speaking to couples, and in one particular seminar, he would use the example that men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. And so what that means is we kind of clump everything all together, and men are
compartmentalized. So if I'm watching the game, and I'm not thinking about what just happened to my wife, because I'm focused on the game. Where she turns on the water, and the water faucet makes her think about the water bill. The water bill then makes her think about our children. Our children then makes her think about us paying out for Sharif's education. Sharif's education then makes her think about everything for her. So it's just like an ongoing spaghetti. Like it's just Everything's wrapped together.
So with that being said, there's like so much going on in my family, my extended family, our extended family, that I can't share with you guys, but it's like a pile up of things happening. And so like on January 6th, a particular thing happened, and then on January 10th, a particular thing happened, and then on January 11th, a particular thing happened, and then there was something that happened on January 15th, and then there was something that happened on January 20th, and then finally January 22nd, I was like, I have to go home. This is getting too much for me. And then on January 23rd, the day after I got home, the car wouldn't start. And then on January 24th, we found out why the car wouldn't start. And then on January 26th, I got some really bad news from, another family member. And then on January 27th, we find out that, Sharif's tuition is due again. And basically, we haven't even been there but 2 weeks. Like it was just a lot. And it was a bit much for me. And then so like on top of it, it was like little things like we have $20. We have a $20 rule. Like we keep $20 in the car in case of an emergency. And then like Sharif, so I'm like always checking the 20 because I want to make sure that everything is in place, because I'm like super anal like that. And so I checked the book, and the $20 was missing. So I'm like, where's the $20? So she was like, oh, I used it to eat. You use our emergency 20 for gas to eat. Like, we have cards. If something goes wrong, if you forget your wallet, the purpose in the 20 being in the car is in case he forgets his wallet. So, and you know, the gas is low. We live in the South. We can't really afford to do that. So it was like little things started to pile up, and you know, a couple of little things that Sharif didn't do around the house when I was gone. And again, these are things that on a typical day, I would have just been like, babe, really, blah, blah, blah. But because, you know, I have all this stuff going on in our family, our extended family, our marriage can't really afford to be out of place right now. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that. So what he's trying to say is, yes, this mistake, he made a human error. You know, he didn't get the oil changed. Yes, it's a big deal because, you know, you're the leader of the family. Right. It's your responsibility to remember those things. But then on a human level, I understand, you know, you really weren't forced to think about things like that when you were growing up.
Right.
You really didn't have those sorts of responsibilities. Like, Sharif would be considered a mama's boy.
Right.
And his mother pretty much did everything to make sure that he had his life was coasting. You know?
It was very much coasting. I mean, it was even one time, Felicia and my mother had a conversation outside of Felicia's old job, and my mother said, I don't want my son to ever work hard in his life. That's what I worked for. And like, I don't really know if she knew what she was really saying, or maybe she did. How I took it, because I wanted to see the good in the message, how I took it is, here's a parent who just doesn't want her son to struggle. But legit, the way that she said that is exactly
the way
how my
that
life,
she, you know, caters to you.
Right.
And still, she still caters to him.
Right.
And so there were a bunch of little things this week that our marriage energy was way off this week. And so there came a time where I just had to stop and go, I'm about to say something that I'm really going to regret saying. So, and I don't know if we've ever introduced this to you guys before, but we had initiated a saying in our relationship: do we park it or do we table it? Mm-hmm. And what park it means is,
let's stop the conversation right now before it gets too out of control and heated. So we're going to park it, but when you park it, that does mean we're coming back to it.
Right. At a more suitable time.
At a more suitable time when we're both clear-headed.
And then the other one is...
table it. Table it means let's put it on the table. You eat what I serve. I eat what you serve. Let's digest it. And then let's talk about what it tastes like. Basically, if I don't agree with something or you don't agree, let's work that out. But we cannot leave from the table. The table is a metaphor. We cannot leave from the table until we come with some type of conclusion. It doesn't mean that we have to agree on it, but we have to leave this table as a unified body. Right. So we have park it and table it.
Which are also known as walk the walk, which means walk away, or talk the talk, which means put it on the table. And so we really hadn't had conversations that really required us to, like, heated. You know, usually when you have to park it or table it, that's when you're in a heated kind of situation.
You got my room.
I will look at your room, baby. I promise. As soon as we finish speaking to our virtual fam, okay? All right.
So yeah, we really haven't had like heated conversations, but on this particular day, I was and my emotions were high regarding the extended family situations. And Sharif is, you know, he comes home from work and he's sitting in the living room and he's on his or in his office and he's on his phone. He got his feet kicked up and I'm washing dishes and I went grocery shopping. There's like 20 bags in front of the door and he's sitting there on his phone. And so I just looked at him. He said, "What? You mad? You mad?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine, honey. I'm fine. I'm fine." And he's like, "No, you want to be that kind of wife? You want to tell me you're fine?" And I'm like, like I feel it brewing, but the children are around, so I'm like, yeah, like you don't want to
open up these floodgates.
Like you don't want to do this. And so he continued to listen. This is, and I swear I will never forget this, but I want to forget it, but I can't. He says, "Listen, I work 12 hours a day. If I want to get on my phone after work, that's up to me." And I was like, boom, in your face, like, it came out. What came out, it came out. And so, Yes, baby. At a point, I finally said, we need to park this.
Yeah.
And so, because I know that my tongue can be very sharp, and that is that is not appropriate for my marriage. That is not appropriate for my children. That is not appropriate for the empire that him and I are hoping to establish together. I need to park this, and that's what we did. So he walked away. He went upstairs and did what, I don't know. He like fake folded up some laundry, and I wrote him a letter. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Thank you. And then he wrote me a letter, and then we kind of just were writing letters back and forth, passing them across the table, in hopes of coming to a resolution, because
Why did you want to do a letter? Why didn't we do it through text?
I wanted, because I feel like,
because we couldn't do it verbally.
No.
So we figured out another way to table it, because the verbal just didn't work. So we parked the verbal, and then we just tabled it through letters. But why didn't we do text?
I feel like a text message is impersonal still, and there's you're swiping, or you're autocorrect, and you're thinking instead of just giving your heart.
Yeah.
The digital device is doing all the work for you. It's figuring out what you want to say, and then you're deleting your backspace, and it's just easy to press delete. Nah, I don't want to say that. Delete. Once you're writing it, if you're gonna scribble out a whole paragraph, you just have to either find your way back through the letter or not. And
that's true.
so, like, once he wrote back, because like this went on for about 2 hours, where we're just passing this piece of paper back and forth across the table, and when he finally responded to me, and I saw where his head was at. This is the point. This is how this all ties in. As you asked, like, how does this all make sense? Once he wrote me back, and I realized that we were both experiencing two completely different emotional topics, I was like, okay, y'all both going through. Because I know that sometimes it's easy. Like, my situation dealing with the family was like here to me, but what you were experiencing had been a consistent kind of issue in our lives right now. And so at that moment, it wasn't at the height of my mind. Like, it wasn't in the forefront of my imagination of what you may or may not be feeling or experiencing. And so when you wrote back, like, I'm talking about, all the things women say, like, I feel unappreciated, I feel this, I feel that, and then you're responding like about this particular subject matter, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And at which point it gave me ease, and it gave me comfort of knowing, like, he doesn't know what I'm talking about, because he clearly can't know what I'm talking about, because even in a letter where there's no interruption, he's not responding to what it is that I'm saying in the letter. Now, I could take the stance, he's not paying attention to me, but that's selfish, and that's not being a wife. Like, my responsibility is to seek to understand you.
Right.
And so in everything I'm saying, you're saying back to me completely different things, but it's all in one category.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so I'm having a bad day, and he is too.
Right. Which I'm, one day I would like to vent that, to let you guys know just with my struggle. And I think I have been. So I kind of came up with this route to being better, and I didn't even tell this to you, but did you watch my Snapchat?
Today?
Yeah. Yeah, busy. So, she had a women's night, a women's day today, like a women's brunch, first time at the house. So you guys make sure that you watch that tomorrow. That was off the hook. But if you check out my Snapchat, you'll see what I'm talking about, and the journey that I'm taking to become better. And I usually just lay it all out there for you guys, because we're unashamedly just open. You guys are a virtual family, that's what it is. At the end of the day, there are some things that I still have to pray about first, in my secret closet, and with my wife, and she's praying for me and with me too. And now I'll be more comfortable with saying, hey, it's X, Y, Z, but I just think some things we put in the airways, the enemy is waiting. And so but follow me on Snapchat. You guys will sort of get like a little gist of what's going on.
So how this all ties into your original conversation opening about the oil change is, for me, it's like you have so much going on in your mind in this space. Like, you're not in a place where you're used to having to do things that, number one, you're not comfortable with, and number two, it's outside of your normal, like, career path. Like everything that you set up for your life, everything that you've done, from the preaching to the teaching to the advocacy to the community awareness, all of those things are not anything that you're doing right now.
Right.
And so I can see how your brain would be consumed with purpose. What is my purpose right now? And I'm not speaking for you. You okay?
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's what I'm just making a wife assumption. Like, I'm stepping back from the situation and I'm thinking this is what I'm gathering from your forgetfulness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you really never had to direct your energy in the places where you have to direct it. Not like you know, all of a sudden this stuff happened. All of a sudden you had a wife and 2 kids and, you know, a house and a job, and, you know, that you're not familiar with, and in a city that you're not comfortable in yet. And there's all these different things. So although I'm adjusting to these huge issues in the family, you're also adjusting to things as well. And so we both need to figure out what we're and take into consideration what each of us are experiencing.
Right.
Because it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
You're right.
And understanding is number 1 and intention is number 2.
Right.
We have to be intentional about looking out for one another.
Right.
We have to intentionally go, what's going on with you?
Right.
What can I do to relieve some pressure off you, even though I have pressure too? And I don't think that we were being aware of that.
No, we weren't being aware of that. Understanding is what got us here in the first place, and I mean that in a good way. I think understanding is what has been helping us out for the 9 years that we've been together. You know, going on 10 years that we've been together was the understanding. You know, Felicia and I, we like one another very much. We're friends, and that friendship became stronger because we understand one another. And so when I fall off the train and I'm in my head and I don't open myself up to understanding you, right, or even thinking about, and I definitely don't put the intention in it. Mm-hmm. Like what you exposed to me about the family, you know, and you're like, I'm feeling this, I'm stressed about this, and then you have a running tab, and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, whoa, that makes sense. But then the question is, why didn't I see that? Mm-hmm. Because it was right there. Like, I know you. I know when you change your underwear. I know when you change a scent. I know when you change ingredients in your food. Like, I know you. I pay attention to you. So
why don't you pay attention to that stuff, though?
I have no idea. And maybe we could talk about that too next week.
Yeah, because I was really, I was just kind of in a place where I was feeling like, well, what's really the point in being married if, you know, my husband isn't taking the load off, which, right, in my opinion, those 12 days where I was gone was an opportunity for you to do all these things, right, that you didn't do, which I know now was because you had other things going on in your mind, and you were also worried about me, you know?
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, why do I have to say, the Bible even talks about a friend, you know, who knows you.
Right.
And they know you. And you don't have to explain yourself. Oftentimes, a friend will be the one to hold up a mirror and show you who you are.
Right.
So my thought was like, well, if you're not operating as my friend in this season, and you're not operating responsibly as a husband or as a partner, what? And then he did a Facebook stat about me.
I did. This is my first time doing this too.
Second.
My second time?
In a 9-year period. And that is a no-no. We do not blast our loved ones on Facebook.
And she's saying that so strongly because I told her that. Because you did it one time, and I was like, listen, you'll listen to me very closely. Don't ever put a stat up on Facebook about me, subliminal. We don't do that in this relationship.
Right.
And so
when I got on Facebook and I saw that, I was like, you don't want to go there with me, buddy.
Yeah.
And I went on a rampage and I posted stats on all my social media.
And then look, and then I shared her status like, wow, this is great. And I see you,
I was so upset, like, wow.
I know.
And it was something like, you don't ever holler or whatever around your kids. I'm like, you asked for the holler. I was
being
trying
petty.
not to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know, and you forced that out of me. Unfortunately, sometimes your kids, they end up in
I
those
was being
sites.
a petty partner.
That was so petty.
That was
I was
so
like,
petty.
oh, you don't want to start this with me.
Yo, that's crazy.
You don't want to go there. Because I don't blast anybody I've ever had any type of love with.
Right.
They blast me on Facebook and whatever, and I fall way back.
I put it on Facebook.
He went on
baby.
Facebook and blasted me. I was like, oh no.
I
Hunty.
did.
You
I
giving
was
a
like,
lurker something to lurk.
I was like, this is what it's about in 2017. This is what marriage is about.
And then he came downstairs and said, I know you saw my post.
Legit, I apologize. I'm very sorry. That was petty of me. That was super petty. And I won't do that again.
It was wrong. Forget petty.
It was just extremely wrong in every single way that you can think of wrong.
What is the goal of today?
The goal of today, I mean, is really, I don't know.
It's to understand, for me, it's to try to seek to understand your partner.
Yes, no, that is the goal of today. You said it. Understanding and being intentional. I think those two words, man, that
But how? How do you,
that resonated with me.
you have to try to understand your partner intentionally.
Correct.
You have to stop, pause your life, pause your emotions, pause your feelings, and go, hold on. What's going on with this other person?
And then after you go there, because where I lack too, is after you get the after you intentionally understand, then it has to be intentional action after that too. Like, I can't just understand you.
Aim.
I have to do something about it afterward.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't even
And-
know if you guys know what Mr. Aim for I Am stands for because he never says it. Aim.
Oh yeah, aim,
Is
aim.
action.
A stands for action. I stands for
Intention.
and M stands for
Maintenance.
maintenance. So you guys,
That's what
Mr.
Mr. Aim for I Am means.
Yeah, you can go
aim
over to that
for
page
action,
and see
intention,
that.
and maintenance in your relationship.
Right, and that's true. So that's the goal of today. I love Super Goal Sunday. I really do. And
I feel like you like it better than our vlog.
no, okay, so I do want to say something about that before we close out, is that when we show you our life Monday through Saturday, and you're like, hold on, you guys are talking about these issues on Sundays, but I didn't see any of that in your vlog Monday through Saturday. What's going on? Okay, so I just want to put it out there now. We're not faking, we're not saving up stuff, trying to save it from you and be secretive. We're giving it to you on Sunday, because this is Super Goal Sunday. All of the things that we can talk about like this, Monday through Saturday, so really, it's like, that's what happens after the camera is off, and then we have like these conversations like that, and we're not thinking about turning on the camera because we're having this argument or like a misunderstanding. So then we're like, hold on, we need to make sure that when our minds are clear, we're going to put this out on Sunday. And this Sundays,
I had
if you notice-
9,000 videos all week.
yeah, listen, Sundays, if you notice, guys, Sundays is really like, I mean, y'all been interacting with us because y'all feel the growing pains of marriage, of relationships. So when we put stuff out there, we say it all the time. We don't have the solution to everything. Actually, we would love for you guys to offer up your suggestions. You know, that's what the community is about. Comment below. Let us know what you think. We'll surely let you know what we think.
And don't question my relationship with God.
Alicia will let you know.
I'm telling you right now, I will be good with you.
Yeah,
I
you need to
am
calm down
okay
with
with the
Whoever's watching, y'all need
even
to calm down with
things that are in opposition to my beliefs. I'm okay with that. But when you come from my relationship with Christ,
Oh,
I'm gonna let
sweet
you know.
Jesus. I'm gonna let you know.
I'm
That's
gonna
what
let
she
you
said.
know. Don't come from my relationship with the Lord.
Please don't come
You know
from
who
that.
you don't.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Don't question my relationship with the God. I'm not feeling it. Other than that,
Y'all see this 1986 shirt that she has on? I wonder who was born then.
Saya, say bye. Say bye.
Say bye.
Bye. Bye to everybody.
As always, when something seems bad,
Turn it around.
and make something good. Bless